Jiu-jitsu, when I hit you, then I split you.
Folks, thanks for tuning in. Once again, Two Live Fools coming at you, episode 18, and we have another special guest for you guys today. He is a Marcelo Garcia Blackelt. He is also the founder of Sakura BJJ. You know, jack of all trades, jiu-jitsu, music, everything.
Tattoos
especially. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Civello.
Yeah, Chris. What's up, buddy?
How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you, man. Thank you for training with us today as well.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That hurt. A lot of good pressure there. So it's always good to have new folks, especially a black belt, come in and kick the shit out of me for a little bit. That was good.
It's all good, man. I've known Chris for almost 20 years now. Right? It's been about that.
Yeah.
So we started training together back at George's in Hensel Gracie Denville. Chris, helped train Chris and sparred with him and got him ready for his MMA fights, bare knuckle fights, stuff like that. So we grew close over the years. And Chris is a very interesting person. He's got a lot of great insight, great intellect, and I just wanted to bring him on to let him tell the story a little bit. So let's start off, Christopher.
Here I am.
Here you are. So what's up? So basically, just to give a little background on yourself for our listeners, I think he has a very interesting story because it comes by like a teenager. Like you were one of the first hardcore punk bands to come out of New Jersey, right?
Hardcore punk band.
Well, how would you call
part
it?
of it, yeah.
I was part of it.
It's part of the movement.
It was kind of cool. I guess I played some guitar and something.
I was in a bunch of since 1992. I was 14 when I was going to hardcore shows in Newark.
Yep.
By myself.
Yep.
And we were skating and BMX bikes and stuff. And then hardcore happened and I don't know. That kind of definitely routed things because I was having a hard time in my life with being bullied and all that stuff. And you go to your first show and I think, who played that? I think it was Bulldoze, Madball, and I think somebody got beaten to an inch of their life by all these huge tattooed dudes, and it's the same old story that you see on Gangland. It's no, there's power there,
Yeah.
So you're feeling insignificant, I guess, and then you see that, and I'm like, man,
I want to be a part of that.
I'm gonna be like that.
Yeah.
So. And I ultimately did, that helped, I guess, put me on certain paths and whatnot, whether it was positive or not. I mean,
but it's what made
it got me here.
Yeah, it made you who you are, and those paths and avenues that we all got to travel. Not every road's paved for all of us in life. There's some that are bumpy, speed bumps, So, I mean, I think that's kind of where you started. And then when I first met you, you trained Taekwondo as a kid and stuff like that for a long time. And then when we kind of got in jiu-jitsu together around the same time, I think you started a little earlier than me. But I knew you as a tattoo artist at the time.
Yeah. I did that. I dropped out of college to do that. So years. I mean, almost. I don't even know, 15 years I tattooed, I guess.
Yeah.
And, it was great, but I just when I started training jiu-jitsu, which is a crazy story. I don't know if we have time. But I ended up in a bunch of schools and we'll say you couldn't, all this gym jumping crap, it wasn't applicable because nobody could stay open long enough for you to stay there. So that whole concept's very odd to me, But I landed in Denville with George and George Cernak, and it felt like the girlfriend started becoming the wife. You could feel everything starting to switch. I constantly, I was cutting down my hours at work because I wanted to train more. And then I was like cutting days off of work to train more, and then then it became like I was appointment only to train more, so I would only go into work when I had appointments
to make enough money to survive.
Just enough.
Just enough, right? Yep.
And then it turned into me just training, and then that shot into where my wife was like, she's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "You're not working anymore," and I wasn't. The guy I was with at the time was like, "Dude, like, what are you doing? Like, are you here anymore? Are you tattooing anymore?" And like, I could feel it. I could feel it changing fast. But I was afraid to leave because that was my income, and I knew how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'd go in. It ended up me going in on Sundays, making $1,000 or $2,000, just booking the day from like as early as I could to as late as I could.
Yeah.
And just training. That was when I was at Marcelo's, when I made the full switch.
Yeah. Well, because then you also made the full switch by opening your own academy, right?
Yeah, I had my own shop, and like I've had little businesses before, and I had to open. I had to do something, and that was the end of that conversation. Like my wife was like, you got to do something. And I'm like, I'm going to open up a school because it's going to be so easy. And I'm going to train all the time. And then, that kicks you in the face real quick.
Oh, yes, it does. I know. Because, like, me and Chris, being school owners, and everybody's like, oh, you just get to work out for a living. You get to do, like, it's not as easy as it looks, man.
The business aspect and setting up your programs and everything else.
It's terribly difficult. I think, I have a friend, his name is Enzo, and he has a, like, wildly successful school. I don't know, like, let's just say he's got like 700 students, just to be humble about it.
Conservative.
Yeah. He, but man, like, we were talking one day, and I'm like, what the difference between me and you? I'm like, you wake up in the morning and think about like 10 different ways to make more money. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I wake up in the morning and think about 10 ways I can make a Kimura tighter. Yeah. And I'm like, we both started laughing. He's like, no, that's exactly what's going on, but you have to start at the beginning. And you enter this world where you know nothing about, like, you know nothing about business, and then, I mean, I can't even say I care about it. It's like I just care about jiu-jitsu. I say that all the time, like, I'm just a jiu-jitsu teacher, and everyone's like, no, but you own a school, so you're a business guy now. I'm like, no, that's happening. Yeah. But
it's a result of me loving jiu-jitsu.
At the end of the day, your passion is jiu-jitsu. And,
yeah, because, like, me and Chris, excuse me, I've talked about it a bunch of times. Like, we just got into, because we love martial arts. And then, like, it's like, oh, we got to make a living at this, too. And, like, it's so much stuff that we both have, like, bounce stuff off each other for years, and it's just like some days we're like, just want to go to an island and train every day. That's all I want to do. Like, because we have that love and passion that students, that guys like you have your other job, but you can just come in and that's your oasis.
Yeah.
For us, it could be our oasis and our hell at the same time. Yeah.
My schedule was severe for that last like run, I guess, at Marcelo's, because now I have my 2 boys, and it's like my time is very very valuable to me now. So like I got to be very careful where I spend those minutes.
Do we have 5 hours to talk about fatherhood? Like, like.
So like I would like, I had this system, like I would I'd have to be out of the house like by 10:30. I'd park in Secaucus at my friend's shop. I'd have to be on the bus by like 11:15. Take the bus to 42nd Street, and I'd walk to 26th, and that was like snow, sleet, rain.
Yeah.
Like, the old, barefoot in the snow.
Yeah.
I'd get to Marcelo's. I'd take 2 classes in a row, which the pros don't even do. They take one, rest, and come back at night.
Yeah. Well, that's called the smarter thing to do.
Yeah. But I had to
I know,
you
had to pack it in.
And I remember, like, in the winter, it would be awful because, like, you'd be like, you'd look like the Michelin Man going there because I knew I had this long walk. Yeah. And I'd get like a freeze burn on my face from the cross drafts, because like I'd wear a scarf, but the scarf would fog my sunglasses, and you had to wear sunglasses because it's so bright in the morning. And then I would take my sunglasses off and it would burn my face. And then you train these like obscenely hard classes, and then you'd leave so hot that you half of the layers on, but then by the time you got to the bus, you're freezing.
You're freezing because you're sweating still.
And you're still sweating.
You're cold.
In the summer, I think it was even worse.
Because you shower. Like, I know at Henzo's, like, when I walk back out to street level after you've been in there.
Sweat.
Like, I've literally just not walked out with shirt on. Yeah. Because, like, I took a shower and I'm still sweating like I'm training. And I would have sweat through my shirt from the walk up to out. So it's like, I look like an asshole. But, like, I'll walk right out with no shirt on. And I'm like, I don't care.
My white t-shirt would be soaked through.
Yeah.
My backpack would have just a soaky in it that smelled like a dead body.
Yeah, I know.
Like, on the bus, I'd be, like, holding my backpack because I was like, oh, my God.
Sometimes it, like, soaks through the backpack because everything's just drenched and it smells. Like,
those classes would be so hard that I remember once Kurt Pellegrino told me I needed to go home because I was shaking and it turned green. Like, it just wasn't smart, you know? And then, so I this was an everyday process. Take the bus home. As soon as Marcelo was like, end of the class, right before he'd clap, I'd have to be the first one in the bathroom, taking a shower, so I was the first one out. I'd have to, like, speed walk down back to the path, the bus.
Yeah, get on when all the union guys are getting on.
Get on the bus.
You have to get on that traffic at, like, 3:12.
Had to be.
Because if it's, like, 3:14, you're fucked. Yep.
And then, so then I'd make my way back to Secaucus. So now I'm exhausted. And I'd have to get in my car, go Route 495 to Route 3 to 46 to 80 to the school.
So anybody that lives in New Jersey knows that's like the pipeline of hell for traffic.
And it had to be before 3:30 because a minute over and
you're done.
Yeah.
You just
so
see the cars feeling in.
You
see it coming in. Yeah.
So then I'd get to the school and then I'd teach and train in at least 3 more classes. I would do like kids, adults, or kids, adults, like the special class we do for like specialty training and adults again, like every day, like at least 5 days a week. And then that was my schedule. But, you know, I wanted to be good so bad. And there was that interview with Marcelo that was like, you know, he mentioned he's on a train, right? And he's like everybody wants to be great, but no one wants to do what
work.
It takes. And he's like, you know, you're operating at 80%, thinking you're doing it at 100%, but if you're doing it 80, you might as well just do it 10.
Yeah.
That quote was the death of everything else, like music, tattooing, because I was like, I'm doing this 80%. Like no matter what I think I'm doing, I'm doing this 80%, and it worked. I mean, you know, I got what I wanted.
Yeah,
but
it's trying to strike that balance. Like it's almost you know, it's different on my end, being, you know, having like a career and then also jiu-jitsu, but trying to find that balance of working like, well, now, you know, working like 60-70 hours a week, then getting into training, but making sure when I'm training I'm actually working, and then when getting home, and then now I got an 18-month-old, so making sure I'm so you guys know, so trying to make sure I'm not just, you know, make sure I'm like fully like present. I'm not just there, just like, all right, change your diaper, feed you, go to bed, all right, you're good. It's making sure that, you know, I'm like there.
You got another one coming too.
I got one too in November. So now it's like, you know, it's interesting, like you were talking about before, like when you first started, like your life kind of morphs around jiu-jitsu. Like, you know, it's kind of like jiu-jitsu, and then now you're trying to plug all these different areas of your life like into it and make it all work. And we all wish we could, like, you know, donate like 100% to everything, but it's a challenge, and you're constantly kind of, you know, it's like juggling essentially.
Yeah, because like I said, it's just balance. Everything in life is balance. Like, you can't work all the time, you know, and not play. You can't play all the time and not work. You can't do jiu-jitsu all the time and not recover. Like, you know, it's like everything else in life, it's balance. But I noticed, you know, as you get, you know, older, like you were saying, your time becomes more valuable in certain situations, especially as you have kids. So, I mean, I got 3 kids, you got 2 kids, you got 1 and 1 on the way, and you can see, like, you want to balance your passion and your love, and for us, it's our business, so it's like we have no choice but being able to be there for your kids and see those little things. Like, you know, the pros and cons of owning your own business, you can make your own schedule. Yeah. So if you want to, like, every morning I schedule my privates around going to my kids' swim practice so I can be there, so I can see them.
I don't want to miss nothing.
I'm like, what's that?
I don't want to miss anything.
You don't. You don't. Especially, like, you know, everybody comes from a different background and had different relationships with their fathers and stuff. And you see the good stuff your dad did, and you see the fucked up stuff your dad did. So, you know, you try to take his best I guess, avenue of, you know, weeding out the bad stuff that they have done and trying to double down and make that the good part that you're doing for your children, you know?
You always want the best no matter what, you know.
Yeah, but we can't make them a bunch of sissies because look what happened. Everybody, that's when you stop spanking, I guess, right?
Yeah. That's why we're here.
Saw that meme the other day on, what's it called? I don't know, Instagram or something. It was
it was like
this is when you know, spankings, when we stopped spanking. Apparently, it didn't work, and it's all like
timeout versus spanking.
Yeah, timeout versus spanking, and I'm like, it's so fucking true. Yeah. It's so true. You know?
I remember one time, and Theo did something like really bad, and like I literally like took my index finger and I like tapped the top of his hand, and like and he just looked at me and like welled up and started crying, and I was like, I'll never hit you again. I wouldn't even say I hit him. I literally,
I'll never poke you again.
I'll never touch you firmly with my index finger on your hand again. Because like, you know, it's like,
yeah, but all kids are different. Like my kids only understand like blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
Like they're like, Dad, I jumped off of that. Like, don't jump off of that, dude. You're gonna get hurt. Dad, don't jump off that. You know. And then all of a sudden it's just like bang. They're like, ah. I'm like, I told you, dum dum. Or like the baby when we moved in with the fireplace. Baby, it's hot. Baby, it's hot. They don't know what hot is yet.
Yeah.
So he touched that. Now everything. Oh, that hot. That hot. That hot. And I'm like, yeah. But you listen. You gotta. You know, there has to be consequences for you to, you know, just in your own mind be able to like frame a reference. Like nobody knows what hot is until you burn yourself. Then you're like, I want no part of that again. You know? So, you know, with kids I think it's, you know, you gotta be positive, you gotta, you know, but you have to be realistic too. And I think, you know, fatherhood wise, like perspective wise, you know, and we teach kids and stuff like that. A lot of times I would say over the years, you're giving kids false sense of security. And you're also not really preparing them for the real world, like as we're seeing what's happened, you know. And it's I mean, you know me, I'm like the bluntest mother lover out there, but like, you know, like it shows because not everybody's fucking opinion matters, and that's what it is. Like with social media and everything else. And I mean, I could sound like an awful person, whatever. I don't care. This is my opinion, but like you don't have to listen to it. But like, not everybody's opinion matter, and that goes into, you know, a workplace. You go into a corporate environment, like your suggestion might matter, but your boss's suggestion matters way more than yours, and it's going to carry more weight. And it doesn't mean that you're unappreciated, but like, you know, there's like, you know, kids that have no life experience like shouting their opinions from the rooftops, and it's like, bro, you still live in your mom's basement, never bought yourself a goddamn meal. Worst thing moving out, buying toilet paper, toothpaste. Like you haven't had to even do that shit yet, you know? Like, so, you know, it's a fine line, I think, with you know, kids and everything else is like, you got to stay humble. You have to realize that there's consequences, there's real consequences. And when you go through, you know, a decade or two of like, everybody gets a trophy and everybody does this. And it's like, no, sometimes you just have to work harder. Sometimes you aren't the best. Like my kids, like they lose and they're like, Dad, I did good, right? I'm like, yeah, you did great. But you didn't do as good as that kid.
You could do better.
Like you can do, and it's not like, oh, like, you know, like I don't push my kids to do anything. Like they don't want jiu-jitsu, don't make them. Like I, especially how I am, like I want you. You need to want it, and then I'll put in the time. If you don't want it, you're wasting your time and my time. I'll help you to my 110%. But like if your heart ain't in it, man, don't even do it. You know.
When you bring up like consequences, I keep like my wife sent this to me once. This one meme. It's a picture of Mike Tyson. He says, especially this new age of social media, people are getting so used to disrespecting people without
getting punched in the mouth,
in the face.
Yep.
And it's not to them like I'm not, you know.
You can verbally punch somebody in the face too, though.
I'm bang like to my daughter, like, hey, if someone like fucks you, punch your face. But it's also when you say something to somebody.
Why not?
Like when I'm looking at you, well,
why not?
In a sense,
because that's a good.
There's that thing in the back of my head. It's just like, yeah, if somebody,
you don't want it.
Somebody crosses you, you got full through. But same thing if like if I'm looking at you and I say something to you, like something like shitty. I can see like your reaction.
You don't have that consequence anymore, especially online, right?
Yeah.
Like you could be a keyboard. We've experienced it. Yeah. Keyboard warrior because there's no consequences. But like for me to like sit here and look like you or Chris in the eyes and be like, "Fuck your mother," you know, like and you look at me and you're either like, "I want to murder your face," or you're like, fuck my mother, you know, you start crying, you know, like, but like, there's not that human interaction.
Yeah, and I say that, and I can see that, and like, if I see you like react to it, I'd be like, oh shit. Like,
that was kind of shitty of me to
like,
say,
right,
like,
dude,
sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't mean that, but that's kind of like that thing we're kind of losing now, which kind of scares me, and it, you know, being a parent, it's like seeing that, like, you know.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, are your kids in kindergarten yet?
They were supposed to start, but now with everything going on, we're not.
I know that's it's a super touchy subject, but you know, the one thing I would just say is like, we all have kids at a certain age, and having a mask on with like they need to see their teacher smile, like, oh, you're doing good. They need to see their teachers, you know, like react, like, oh, don't do that, like, because if you just cover this and you're like, no, and you're like, are they happy? Are they mad? Because like, we all had our babies, right? When they get excited, you smile at them, and they're like, ah! But, like, if it's like this, and you look like a ghost-faced killer the whole time, you're like, what are we doing to them? Are we gonna have a generation of sociopaths? Like, what the fuck's going on here, you know?
That makes me nervous, too, because I struggle with that anyway.
Yeah.
Ambiguous looks, you know, I have to, like, almost like, I've been trying to teach myself to smile in situations because, like, you know, that's a whole other thing in itself that I'm dealing with. But it happens, you know, and you get to see that. You get to see, like, you know, what's that quote? Like, people won't remember what you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel, right?
Yeah, very true.
I don't think you could do that if you can't see somebody's face. I mean, I guess because, like, you know, we were talking about Gene Dunn before. Like, you know, I've had incredible conversations with him.
Over the phone or whatever.
But over the phone.
Yeah, me and you, I've had, you know, me and Drew,
So
like,
you know, I mean,
you can, but like,
I
think, but we've already went through the development of being adults. As kids.
Well, you think?
Well, no. I'm 14 in my head.
We have our moments.
I'm 14 in my head still. Like, the only thing that lets me know I'm almost 40 is, like, my knees, my shoulders, my jaw, and I have way less hair. So.
I mean, I still laugh hysterically when my daughter farts. Like, every time she walks by, she cuts one loose, man. I'm like, at least I'm dying.
Oh, absolutely. You know? I mean, it's a tough subject because it's like, you know, what's right, what's wrong. But at the end of the day, like, we're parents. You should make your decision for your kids. And you're going to make the decision what's right for your child, you know? Yeah. Well, for you, your family, and your child.
You hope. It's like, this is like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh, it is. Well, that's like...
Because you get, you know, you're like, that one thing you say could, like, just topple everything. Or make the person, like, a wild success. Or, like, you know, it's... I mean, there's no take.
Yeah, your influence on your children. Yeah, I mean, it is. And, like, well, listen, and that's the thing. We're all flawed humans. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's certain things that, like, I do that you don't agree with. And, you know, there's certain things you do I might not agree with. But, like, you know, for the most part, like, who am I to say to you? Like, if it works for you and your family and that's how you were raised. But, like I said, I don't think any of us go into fatherhood and be like, I want to be the worst dad ever. I don't fucking care. Like, there's some people out there. That's like, dude, I don't get it, man. Like, these guys that go and have kids and they're just like, fuck it, never see. I'm not built like that. I couldn't even do, like, the last thing in the world I would do is abandon my child. Like, but there's, like, it's mentally weak. Yeah. Like, you know, you're mentally, and but my dad and my, stop being a bitch, bro. You can end that timeline. To me, like, sorry if I'm offending anybody, but I'm really not sorry. You're a bitch. You're a bitch if you just go and walk out.
There's no other way
to say it. Like, you walk out and but you don't understand. I do understand. I do understand because any one of us could have made that decision. You know? Oh, well, I was this, I was that. And it was like, yeah, but your story is, the ending is not written for you. The chapter is, you can always, you know, you can start a new chapter at all times. And it's not easy. No, everybody knows that. I'm not saying like, oh, it's just as easy as doing this. Yeah. But step one, you know, you can, you know, not be a dirtbag.
Did you see the
show up? You know,
the statistics on like fathers that aren't present and what happens to the kids? It's like suicide rates go up. You know, like it's crazy. You know, you're just like, and the whole time you can't even wrap your mind around why you wouldn't want to see that, like, sweet face of that, you know, like when I come home and they're like, Daddy, I mean, it's the best.
Dude, my kids go nuts, right? You know,
I mean, even for my relationship with my wife, like I couldn't have these two particular kids with anyone else in the universe. I mean, like, she gave that to me, so that's like so special, and like deepens our relationship to a level that you don't even think is possible. Like when you're dating, getting married, and then this, and it's like, I mean, how can you not want to experience that? It's like,
you're a
it's
team,
so special.
Man.
Yeah, it's
that
like
teamwork aspect feels like it's
dude.
awesome.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, like, there's some days though I'm just like, I don't even want to see my kid's face because they're annoying the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But like, I mean,
we get wore down.
this
But then
is weird.
2 seconds.
But then 2 seconds later, you're like, oh, you just did
miss
something
you.
super fucking cute, man. Get over here, you little bugger.
I can't stay mad at you.
I know.
You're like, I'm gonna go for a walk, and then the whole walk, you're like, man, I love those kids.
No, it is. Sometimes you just need to walk it off, man. Like when the baby smashed my big screen, I literally had to go outside. I didn't talk to the baby for like a week. I didn't. It's like he'd come by me like, Dad, I'm like, baby, not friends right now. Not friends. And he'd come over and do his little things. I'm like, baby, we're not friends right now.
Yeah.
Rand's like, you can't not talk to the baby for a week. I'm like, smash the TV, the new one. Doesn't even have the plastic off of it.
Laurie's always like, you're 42.
I know, exactly.
Grow up. You're arguing with a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
You're just pouting.
Yep.
But you step into me.
I know, exactly.
It's my own
I'm
house.
like, you don't get guy stuff. I'm like, you stay out of this.
Yep.
argument.
Oh, I know. Me and Rick. She's
I'm
like,
like,
what
he's
are you
testing
doing?
me.
Yeah. No, I say it all the time. I'm like, I'm the alpha.
Yeah.
I'm the alpha. I will pee on all their stuff. I don't freaking care. I'm like, dude, because they do. They test you.
Yeah.
It's like prison. It's like, oh, you're weak? We're going to take advantage of you.
The other day I thought that I was eating, and then they circle your food like sharks.
Dude, I say it's prison.
Can I have some of that?
No, dude, all the time. I literally would eat. I would wait till the kids went to sleep for like the first 3 years of them being alive because I said this is like prison. I literally would have to cover my tray and slam the food. As my poor wife cannot eat a meal without one of them sitting on her lap trying to eat her food. They're not hungry, but they got to eat her food.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, give your mom some space. They know better because I stabbed Gunner with a fork right in the finger. I got a scar on my finger from my dad hitting me. I'm like, hey, retribution. But one good thing my dad taught you, do not mess with another man's food. Kink! And put it right in his head. Here. Rand's like, did you just stab him with a fork? I said, fuck yeah, I just stabbed him with a goddamn fork. Gunner hasn't took anything off my plate since.
Wasn't that a men at work? Don't mess with another man's fries.
Yeah, can't, bro. Hey, listen, if I offer or we say, hey, we're going to split this, no thing, you try to come on my plate with your finger, we're going to have a problem. I don't care.
Doesn't matter what
right,
they're
wrong,
eating.
good, bad, ugly. I don't care.
I notice with mine, it doesn't matter what I could have like gourmet food in front of her. As soon as she sees, I could be eating like Frosted Flakes. As soon as she sees what I'm eating, she's like throws her food aside and wants whatever I'm eating.
That's the baby.
Yeah.
Both my kids, my older kids, like they ate very well, and they still like they eat like triathletes. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the baby, he like just like we didn't know what to do because he's just like he would only eat frozen French toast sticks. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and he's jacked.
Zero.
So I'm like, I get
That's
yeah,
it.
but he's jacked. He's got abs, pecs. I'm like, what is going on? But then it's funny because like he'll eat that and yogurt. That's all he would eat, like tons of yogurt.
That's
So
it.
like he's got good gut bio, I guess.
Yeah.
But and then he would like eat some other things, but like he'll eat anything off my plate, from steak to this to that. Like, but if it's on his plate, no, not that, no, like. And then I'm like, it's on my plate. It's like, oh, you like hot sauce? Okay, like, and he's like, hot sauce, yeah. But if I put it on his plate, won't eat it.
Yeah.
I gained so much weight when they were like Taylor was just born, and Theo was in that stage. He still kind of is, where like, you know, you go out and like you order all this food and you're like, all right, you know, he'll definitely have mac and cheese or he'll definitely have pizza, and he's like, no, I don't want it.
I know.
And then, like, you just spent so much money, so then you eat the pizza and the macaroni.
Like, yeah,
and
that's how my
wait.
dad was. Like, I just spent $100.
Yeah,
This
I'm
food,
eating everything.
or you bring it home and then you're eating it at like 2:00 in the morning because you're like, I'm fucking hungry again.
Yeah, it's like, you know, one meal turned into like 3 or 4 meals in a sitting, and then you eat like two more times during the day because the same thing happens, and then before you know it, you're like, you look at the scale.
You're like, oh, I broke the
Man, when I train, I
200.
can't breathe.
I know. Haven't been able to tie my shoes without going.
No more inverted guard for us.
Yeah.
Oh, nope, top game.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Get on top or half guard, hope for the best.
Yeah. So it is, dude. It's a life-changing experience becoming a dad, man. It really is. Like, and nobody's fucking prepared for it.
There's no book.
And you just
can
get
read all
shot out of a cannon. Like,
Yeah.
like when that baby's born, like you're a dad. Like you're changing diapers, feeding it, doing all this stuff, staying up. It's not like there's no ease into it.
No.
It's just
No.
I remember being in shock for like, because everyone's like, oh, you're gonna cry when it happens, and I was like, nope. I was in shock for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, it took me a minute to.
Like,
cry.
is this real life?
Yeah, even sitting in the hospital, like going chest to chest, I'm like, holy shit, like this is my child, like, you know, this is our child.
Yeah.
Like it's
it's wild. Like, especially with Gunner, my middle one, you know, he came out and his guts were literally on the outside. Wow. Like, and I was just like, and they put him in a clear garbage bag. So I got my kid that came like 5 weeks early. He's like 4 pounds. Like, think about a fucking 4 pound weight.
Yeah.
Right? He's 4 pounds and his guts are the same size as him, if not bigger, on the outside. And I was just like, and from there it was like I didn't sleep for like 2 or 3 days. And just because, like, you know how it is, like, you're up, you got to bring the breast milk, whatever. And I couldn't sleep, and I walked that hospital. If I had a Fitbit, it would have exploded. I probably walked about 40 miles in like 12 hours.
Yeah, it changes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like the biggest responsibility.
Yeah. It's cool though. It's definitely cool. Like, you know, like, it's like one of those things, you know, where, what's it called? It's one of those things where you're not prepared for it, but it's also the most awesome experience of your life. Like, when you see them, like, just like even like first crawl, first step, because everything's brand new.
When they smile at you the first time.
Yeah. Like, oh, you do like me.
At you. Like,
Yeah.
I used to love too, like when you'd feed them and like they're locked. Like, you're looking at each other's eyes and they're locked in. Like, you feel like you could feel it in your stomach. Like,
they're looking into your soul,
and it's like they're downloading your face, you know. And you're just like, man, this is crazy. And like, I didn't have that Lion King moment, you know, that I thought I would have. You know, I'm like, this is, and I was happy, you know, but. It takes me a little longer to process things sometimes.
Well, sometimes, like, by 6 months, you're like, oh, I like this kid.
Yeah. Well, like the second or third night it happened, you know? And, like, me and Lori, like, I'm really emotional and teared up and stuff, but, like, the first day I was just like, everything's happening so fast, and like, I was ultra concerned about Lori, because it was a C-section, so... You know, I found myself, like, kind of...
torn.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well...
Who do I take care of?
Baby's okay, and he's over there, I think. And like, you know, and I'm like, I just want to make sure Lori's all right. Because, I mean, it is a new person getting introduced in your life.
Yeah.
So you are more concerned for the person that you've known and been living with, you know. It's odd. It's like... I don't even... I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Dude, it's a whirlwind of emotions. Like, the easiest thing is, it's like you got thrown in a washing machine. You're on spin cycle.
I shut down and go into, like
your go mode.
Self-praise.
You're just going.
Yeah, just like, you know, like when I fought, when I compete, like, everything just shuts down, and I have a task ahead of me, and I need to complete that task.
Yeah.
So that's how it kind of felt, you know, like everything shut down, and I'm just like surveying the situation.
Yeah,
I'm like, all right, well,
your alertness just like jumps up.
Yeah, I'm like, Lori's okay. You know, I got to stay relaxed. You know, because I got to.
Yeah, like the first one, you never leave the house either. Like, there's certain things, and then the second one, you like really loosen the reins, and by the third one, like, yo, that's you seen Gabe? He's a free range chicken, bro. That thing's like the top. Yeah, it's crazy.
I remember, I think it was up before my wife, we went into birth for like 2 days straight, just because she was starting to get like contractions. She had the little app on her phone, and I remember like the night like she went into labor, like I couldn't sleep no matter what. So I'm just like, you know, watching Netflix like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm like, all right, let me just go check on her. So I walked into her room. The lights were completely out, but I could see the phone screen, and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, hey, do you want to go to the hospital? And I'm like right now?
Yeah.
We can't put this off.
And I was just like, and I would already been up for like a day and a half. So I was like grabbing like the bag, like jumping in the car, and then even after she had given birth,
you're up, bro.
The nurse had walked in.
Your adrenaline, everything, man.
It was literally, I didn't eat adrenaline coffee. I remember the nurse walking into the room, and I was like rocking her to sleep, and she's like, yeah, you gotta go to sleep, buddy.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Like, so
well, the one nurse said that to me too. Like, I was up and I was running like breast milk back to Gunner because they didn't know if he'll ever be able to eat because his guts and this and that. So I was like in grind mode. So I was like, all right,
you don't
like
have
37 hours still going, 40, you know. And the one nurse looked at me and she's like, you're doing everything you can, and there's nothing more you can do right now. She's like, go take a fucking nap, Garrett. I'm like, all right, if you gave me... I was waiting for somebody to give me the okay.
How happy are you?
Because I could only survive on gummy cherries and coffee for so long.
How happy are you when you find out that you can leave the baby with the nurse in the nursery? I'm like, wait a minute. So you can take the baby into the nursery and I can sleep?
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
So
we're going to do that.
Like,
let's do that.
When I was in Morristown, Gunner was in the NICU, so like I was sleeping in the NICU sometimes, or then I would go downstairs, like take a nap, but I would check on him every hour just because, you know, whatever. Yeah. With Gabe, we were in Denville, and I was like, this is like the fucking Marriott.
Yeah.
I'm like, like my sleeping situation isn't the best. That stupid chair that pushes out or whatever. Yeah. You're like, dude, with all my injuries.
The mattress looks like that.
Like
and you're like,
no, I wish I got that. Both places I stayed, like literally, it was like a half a couch with like, and I'm not a big guy. My legs are hanging off of it. I'm like, I feel bad for anybody over 5'8".
Yeah.
Like, you're screwed, But so the second one, but it was like, because we would sleep with the baby, but they would, every once in a while I was like, we both need to get some sleep. And by the third one, we knew, you don't get sleep. So, like, sleep now. Yeah. Sleep. And we did. And, like, Gabe wasn't rough for me because he was breastfed. So, like, I couldn't get up.
Well, Lori,
I ain't got
Lori
no titties, bro.
Sleep. Yeah, she's
like,
why don't you sleep so you could function during the day?
That's
up,
yep, and that's what we did.
Sounds great.
Sounds great. Because I'm like both of us. Well, that's what me and Rand did the double duty on the first two, and it was just like, it's safer for our children and our relationship because one of us without sleep, the other one can kind of like take it. But both of us without sleep, it's like who's gonna murder who first.
Yeah.
And then you got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, your power nap game just goes up. You become such a pro at it.
Yeah.
You can literally just be like walking, and you can literally be like sleepwalking. You're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Functional.
I remember too, like in the hospital. You are sleep deprived, so you start thinking about all this crazy stuff, and
your mind just fucking
yeah. And I remember like
it's like tripping.
It's a little,
I don't know. I remember thinking, I'm like this whole process got in my mind where I'm like, this is crazy how this is all happening in like Lori's belly, right?
Yeah.
And then like, and it's like a dot, and it's like a cell, and this is turning into all these other cells, and then like. And it's happening like in Lori, in this hospital, in this in this town, in this country, and like my mind keeps going. And I'm like,
deep, man.
on this
I'm in the Matrix.
I'm like on this planet, in this galaxy, in this universe. I'm like, this is nuts. So I walked down. I literally walked down to the chapel, and like before this, I wasn't really like religious or anything. And
no,
but it's changed.
Yeah, I know it has.
I went into chapel, and I was like, I don't know how this works, and I don't know who you are, but thank you, because this is amazing. Like this is, and it's been like that ever since. Like now, I'm like, we've gone to church, and again, I don't know how it works. I'm like, I guess you.
I don't know how it works.
I guess you go there, right? Like,
but do you feel better?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's all that's how it works.
And I'm like, I want like nice little Catholic boys that listen to like Dave Matthews. I'm like, I don't want them to be like me.
Dave Matthews is out there. As long as you're listening to Counting Crows, I'm okay.
That's what I want. Like in their Jeep with the doors off.
Little flop collar. Hey, where's your daughter Cabot shoes?
Yeah.
No, listen, like I know it's but then I also struggle with like none of my friends. All my friends that are interesting, like I've heard Joe Rogan say this, and it's so true.
They definitely don't listen to Dave Matthews.
No. All my friends that are interesting have gone through fucked up shit.
Yeah.
All my friends that are like really good people have gone through fucked up shit. So it's like you need, I don't know, you need those trials and tribulations. Like obviously nobody wants their kid to have to go through something or go through whatever, but it's like, it almost doesn't complete you without a person without adversity. Like when it comes back to jiu-jitsu, like you don't get good at jiu-jitsu because you came in day one and smashed everybody for the past 10 years. No, you were the nail for about the first 6-7 years of training,
it's
and
like
then
penance.
It's like paying penance, absolutely. And that's like, my kids always, because they think you're the like Superman and the toughest dude in the world. And I'm gonna play that card as long as I can.
That's why I started parting my hair to the side. I wanted to look like Clark Kent. I'm not kidding. I'm gonna lift weights and I'm gonna part my hair to the side.
So, but like, I'm like, you want to keep that facade up as much as possible, but they gotta know, what it's like to go through certain things. But they always said to me, like, Dad, can you beat this guy? I'm like, I don't beat anybody up, guys. I'm like, they're like, yeah, but you're super tough. I'm like, the reason I got super tough is because I got my butt kicked a lot.
Yeah.
So I just know how to take a beating.
You understand. You
know?
understand too, especially like there's that little bit of empathy that comes. You understand what it's been like to be, start from the bottom and kind of work your way up. So when you see that with other people, and then especially with adversity, like what it's like to be in like those really dark places. So when you find someone else, you can like kind of relate. And you're like, hey man, I know, I've been there.
It is, and it makes it like with my kids. The one thing that I know has stuck with them a little bit, because they always say, "Daddy, one day I'm gonna be as strong as you. I'm gonna be as smart as you, or whatever it is." And I'm like, "No, you're not." I'm like, what? I'm like,
You'd be better.
No, I'm like, if I literally tell my kids, I'm like, if you're only as smart as me and you're only as tough as me, I failed. I said, you're going to be way better than me.
Yeah.
If you're not, then Dad didn't do his job. And you saw them, like, both of them, like, because my kids are pretty articulate, and they're pretty, like, I know everybody's like, oh, my kid's smart. Like, my middle one, Gunnar, he's very intellectual, and Gav too, like, but they're expressive, but you can see, like, the wheels turning in their head.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, that's cool. And then I'm like, but we still fight every birthday because I'm still the strongest till then. So that's the rule. Strongest one in the house makes the rules.
Yeah.
So every day on their birthday, I'm like, ready to scrap, boys? They said, no, Dad, we're not ready to scrap yet. But once they're 16 and there's 3 of them, I'm going to be like, oh, shit. I'm going to have to kneecap one of them, make an example of them.
Boss battles. He's like, you want to play boss battles with me? I'm like, I would love to play boss battles with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's like, Daddy, I can't do anything.
I know. Yep, you're like, yep, that's right.
It's my house.
Oh, dude, you see it. Like, I'll post some videos. My kids are like, tap! They're like, Kimura, Sandagi! And I'm just like tossing them around, grabbing them, and they're like, oh, I ankle lock.
He loves it.
Oh, yeah, I ankle lock the baby arm locks now.
Yeah.
No,
He
does
just
he?
wraps his arms around there, and he's like, and he yells at me, tap! Tap! And I'm like,
He
ah!
took a judo. We started like early, and he got his. It was cool because like the things he's experienced so far, like as a baby, like Sensei Matsumura got his red belt, and we were able to be there for that.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if he remembers that much, but he was there. We have pictures. I'm like, when does anyone witness that? That was the coolest thing. And then he ended up training with him, with Salita and Matsumura, and Kevin Asano was there. He did a workshop. And so, like, I try to put him in these situations where he's around greatness.
Yeah.
Because that definitely saved my ass. Like, I was lucky enough to have some great coaches in my life. And when things did get pretty terrible, like, I fought my way out of it somehow.
And they were there, to help you through, navigate a little bit and stuff, like it's just part of life.
So I'm like, if his baseline is Olympics, and stuff like that, then that's good. But he's the kind of kid where I'm like, are we gonna do judo again? Because he got his first stripe that day, with Selena and Kevin, and it was cool. I was like, he's gonna be such a beast. He's gonna love this, and he likes it. But I'm like, you want to go to, you want to do judo again? He's like, no. I'm like, why? And he's like, because I did that already. So everything's like, oh, I did that already. I don't have to do that again.
Yeah, I know. It's the tough thing. Like, my kids, like, I don't make them do jiu-jitsu. Like, I tell them all the time, like, and I know this might sound a little weird, but I'm like, jiu-jitsu's a privilege. It's not like, like, oh, we just get to do jiu-jitsu because Dad has a jiu-jitsu school. Like, no, it's a privilege. So, like, and they, like, have to want to do it because otherwise, like, I don't care if my kids ever train. I mean, it'll break my heart inside a little bit.
Yeah.
It will, just because it's such a huge part. But I also have the ability to affect other kids' lives. So, yeah, I want my kids to be in there and want to be involved and all that other stuff. But, like, I won't completely miss out because I can change other kids' lives as well, too. But with my kids, like, I just want them to be able to protect themselves. That's it. That's what the jiu-jitsu. I don't need them to be world champions. I don't need them this. I just want to make sure those motherfuckers can scrap. That's it. And all the brothers, they can take care of each other. That's it.
It's odd, though, right? Because, like, when you think... I mean, as I get older, you start to... I used to think that was it. Like, there had to be the struggle, and you had to be the toughest guy, and you were going to get fucked with...
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
It's
I know
not.
people that have never been in a fight, they're like,
50, 60 years, they've never even been punched, and I'm like, what?
People don't bother me. And now, like, I think of that mindset where you definitely call things to you, right? So, like, if I was feeling... like inadequate or weak or you put on that persona.
Yeah,
people
you're like,
pick
come
up
on, let's
that.
fight.
And they pick on you, right? So it's like was it my fault? I mean, we could argue that for days, But,
Well, that's getting like Freudian shit going right there. Like, was I a weak little kid or was I putting the energy out there and that's why I got bullied? Now, anybody who's ever been bullied be like, I didn't want to get bullied. But, like, that's the other thing, too, is, like, I've been on both sides. And I think that's why a lot of us started training martial arts as a kid. I was bullied, etc. But, like, I just didn't want to be bullied. I didn't want to be a victim.
But that's the
But that's
right?
But we're also built differently. Like, and that's one thing I've learned over the years. You get a little bit more mature, I guess. I mean, sometimes, but I can look at it now in little things like not everybody's built like me, not everybody's built like you, and I'm not the toughest son of a bitch in the world. I've been brought to my knees many a times, but we're built a certain way where like we can't even go into a thought process. Because it's just like we're not built that way. Like we're gonna go put our head down and go.
Like I said before, like that's the catch, right? It's like we're training for a fight that's probably never going to happen.
Yes, you did say that. That's funny.
And then I think back, and I'm like, all right, so maybe there was a time when like, me and my, like, bullies or whatever could have met, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm coming from this side, and the person's coming from this side, and we kind of meet in the middle. There was probably a time when that could have happened, But now it's like, all right, so... you have all the titles and you've been in all the fights and you got the belt and you got, you're a black belt now and it's like that time's gone. So it's like, what am I going to do? Like seek out this guy that's like, he's 350 pounds and had a heart attack and he's addicted to drugs. We're going to fight? Like, it's just, and so then I think there comes a point somewhere in your martial arts journey when you got to say, or ask yourself, because this happened to me, like, do I love this?
Yeah.
Because like, it stops being functional after a while, and I think it's going to continue getting like decreasing in function as you get older because you're getting hurt. Like you're just taking on so much injury, and like we were talking before about how we're walking crooked and like my back hurts all the time, and like how many surgeries and how many repairs, and it takes a toll. I mean, you still grit it out, but for how long? I don't know.
Yeah, I think everybody's different on that one. I mean, like you're gonna have to. You roll me in, dump me off my wheelchair, and I'm gonna roll. Yeah, that's just me. Now, do I do things different? The biggest thing I can say I've done is I train differently. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I'm still a little bulldog, like I got after it, whatever. But if I'm hurting the next day, like hurting. I don't train. I take it off. I can't do 2-a-days anymore. Yeah. I can't. My knees won't let me. My knees will not let me. And my lower back, like it just
kids
won't.
Need you.
And that's the other thing too. So well, if they go to school, then it's easy. I can get one in the morning, and then I sneak one in at night. But but it is. It's like one of those things, and I want to be able to. I don't want to be so hurting all the time. By the time I get home, that they're like, Dad's just on the couch, which sometimes happens because I'm exhausted. But it's just like. I want to be able to go for the bike ride.
That's my thing in my school with leg locking, right? Like, I've lost students because we don't teach it. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say I don't teach it. Yeah. But we do it in a certain way. So, and I tell everyone, I'm like, look, I'm a lot older. I've been through a lot more. And I'm like, if you pop your elbow, it'll hurt, but you'll function throughout the day. You could go to work. You can hold your kids. Like, you could do what you need to do. It's not the biggest deal. It's uncomfortable. I'm like, if you pop your knee, I'm like, now you can't walk. And I'm like, you have to process that. So like when you hear people say, oh yeah, I've been teaching this stuff forever, and like, not my school. People are always fine. It's no different than a normal. Like it absolutely is. And I don't think you really see that until like you get older, until you have kids, until you have other things going on in jiu-jitsu where you're not,
Listen, we're just in here trying to avoid the freak accidents. That's one of those things.
And those could happen regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the legs, just because I've been doing them since we were
forever.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, I don't care if it's cheap. Remember, like when it was cheap.
Like, when it was cheap. Now everybody's like, oh yeah, they're like, oh, it's cheap. You just knee bar.
Like, I don't care.
I'm like, I don't care.
You give me that foot.
Yep, you give me that foot. I'll tear that fucker right off. I don't care. I'll bite you. But like, I think the one good process with the guys that I train with here is all my guys are very respectful, and we'll go after each other's legs. But if we're feeling getting funky on each other, like we all know and respect each other enough to like let it go. Like I'll just be like, I could add you. They're like, no, I'm good, and I'm like, I could, or they're like, dude, I don't care. One of my guys, they know how to leg lock, so it's like it starts getting funky. I'll be like, tap, like that got weird. I didn't want it to get weirder, you know?
Yeah, I find once
Just being self-aware, I guess.
just like especially training with legs, anytime I really like go for it now, I'm not worried so much about the win. I'm more so worried about the mechanics. So now if I have like the knee and I have the heel dug up,
you can break it.
There's no need for me to kind of finish it and go for the tap and be like, yeah, I won. It's like I look at the move, I examine it. I'm like, all right, functionally, this is good. I can move on.
Yeah.
I don't need to fucking tear your leg off because at the end of the day,
you're right. You tried to tear my fucking leg off. I don't believe you.
We're still
you
friends.
lied. You lied. Right
But
now. Bold-faced lie.
There's also that piece like say if I go for Gary and I heel hook him and I fucking blow his knee out.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that to each other.
Now we can't train anymore.
Now you're teaching all my classes.
Yeah. Now it's like,
happens.
all right, I'll be in Wednesday, I'll be in Friday. But there's just this that doesn't help. I think you even said it's like, dude, like don't break your toys. Like
don't break your toys.
So there's no need. Even
you got
now,
nothing
like,
to play with.
My overall training now, especially like once I hit 30, like when I look at like strength conditioning and everything else, it's not just to be a fucking monster and beat people. It's functional. I'm trying to just keep my body healthy and strong.
I tell people that too. I'm like, strength and conditioning has zero like bearing on your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, I think like when I gained like 50 pounds and tried to come up and I wanted to be a heavyweight, be bigger and stronger. I think striking, like you can hit harder, no doubt. But but grappling, like I remember we were talking about Dan Koval. just annihilates people. I remember like we hadn't trained for a while. I got a lot bigger and I came to visit the city and we trained and I slapped 5. And I remember like for a moment, there was a moment in space and time when I felt that I had gotten stronger.
Yeah.
And then after that moment, it
Fleeting
unfolded
moment.
exactly how it usually does.
Usually
like with him
does.
on my back choking me. So like, so I always tell my students, I'm like strength and conditioning keeps you healthy.
Yeah.
To do jiu-jitsu.
Yes, that's what we've talked about that for Remember Fighting for years was like, because people be like, oh, I know it's like the right thing, like CrossFit, right? Like for us, it's like we would do CrossFit to keep us in shape to learn how to like for jiu-jitsu. It wasn't like our end-all be-all. We were doing everything around it to make us better at jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu is not fitness, and it will break you down and destroy your body. And like, I know that's not the best thing for marketing. But like that's what's gonna happen.
Well, I think we've also learned how to train smarter. We didn't train as smart.
You have no choice.
Yeah, we didn't train as smart in the beginning, but just from how we used to train to now how I bring my students, even though like we have hard training sessions.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
You know, yep, you're welcome. That we took all the bumps and bruises. So, but what's it called? I know it's getting a little late. I know you got to run out. So at the end of this, guys, make sure you check out Two Live Fools promo code at rolljunkie.com. A friend of all of ours. Ed and Matt, they own that company. Great sponsors, 15% off your entire order. So Two Live Fools.
And if you guys are in the Rockaway area, I would definitely recommend checking out Sakura BJJ. First one's a great school, and then
brand new school.
Brand new school. Hopefully soon enough, the Sakura Super Fight series will be coming back. It's a series of really well-run in-house super fights. So we'll see when all this stuff clears up.
Yeah, you should be able to find them on YouTube, right? Some of the Sakura fights?
Yeah, they're on there. It's just Sakura BJJ everything. So if you want to find us, that's our Instagram or YouTube or our Facebook pages. Website sakurabjj.com. So,
awesome.
Across the board.
Yeah. Go check out Chris. Been training with him for years. Wealth of knowledge. Like an encyclopedia of jiu-jitsu moves, so if I ever have a question, I can give Chris a call. So check him out. He's always got good information on all his social media as well. So my brother, I love you. Thank you for coming in. Had a good time, and we'll see you guys soon.
Jiu-jitsu, when I hit you, then I split you.